This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Tragedy of King Richard II by William Shakespeare. Act 2, Scene 1. London. An apartment in Ely House. Gaunt on a couch, the Duke of York and others standing by him.
Will the king come, that I may breathe my last in wholesome counsel to his unstayed youth?
Vex not yourself, nor strive not with your breath, for all in vain comes counsel to his ear.
Oh, but they say the tongues of dying men enforce attention like deep harmony. Where words are scarce, they are seldom spent in vain, for they breathe truth that breathe their words in pain. He that no more must say is listened more than they whom youth and ease have taught to glose. More are men's ends marked than their lives before. The setting sun and music at the close, as the last taste of sweets is sweetest last, writ in remembrance more than things long past. Though Richard my life's counsel would not hear, my death's sad tale may yet undeaf his ear.
No, it is stopped with other flattering sounds, as praises of whose taste the wise are fond, lascivious metres to whose venom sound the open ear of youth doth always listen, reports of fashions in proud Italy, whose manners still our tardy apish nation limps after in base imitation. Where doth the world thrust forth a vanity? So it be new, there's no respect how vile that is not quickly buzzed into his ears. Then all too late comes counsel to be heard, where will doth mutiny with wit's regard. Direct not him whose way himself will choose, 'tis breath thou lack'st, and that breath wilt thou lose.
Methinks I am a prophet new inspired, and thus expiring do foretell of him his rash fierce blaze of riot cannot last, for violent fires soon burn out themselves. Small showers last long, but sudden storms are short. He tires betimes that spurs too fast betimes. With eager feeding food doth choke the feeder. Light vanity, insatiate cormorant, consuming meals soon preys upon itself. This royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war, this happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea, which serves it in the office of a wall or as a moat, defensive to a house against the envy of less happier lands, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, this nurse, this teeming womb of royal kings, feared by their breed and famous by their birth, renowned for their seeds as far from home for Christian service and true chivalry as is the sepulchre in stubborn Jewry of the world's ransom, blessed Mary's Son. This land of such dear souls, this dear, dear land, dear for her reputation through the world, is now leased out. I die pronouncing it, like to a tenement or pelting farm, England, bound in with the triumphant sea, whose rocky shore beats back the envious siege of watery Neptune, is now bound in with shame, with inky blots and rotten parchment bonds. That England that was wont to conquer others hath made a shameful conquest of itself. Ah, would the scandal vanish with my life! How happy then were my ensuing death!
Enter King Richard and Queen, O'Murrell, Bushy, Green, Bagot, Ross, and Willoughby.
The king is come. Deal mildly with his youth, for young hot colts being raged do rage the more.
How fares our noble uncle, Lancaster?
What comfort, man? How is it with aged Gaunt?
Oh, how that name befits my composition, old Gaunt indeed, and gaunt in being old. Within me grief hath kept a tedious fast, and who abstains from meat that is not gaunt, for sleeping England long time have I watched. Watching breeds leanness. Leanness is all gaunt. The pleasure that some fathers feed upon is my strict fast. I mean my children's looks. And therein, fasting, hast thou made me gaunt. Gaunt I am for the grave, gaunt as a grave, whose hollow womb inherits naught but bones.
Can sick men play so nicely with their names?
No, misery makes sport to mock itself. Since thou dost seek to kill my name in me, I mock my name, great king, to flatter thee.
Should dying men flatter with those that live?
No, no, men living flatter those that die.
Thou now a-dying, sayest thou flatterest me?
Oh, no, thou diest, though I the sicker be.
I am in health, I breathe, and see thee ill.
Now, he that made me knows I see thee ill. Ill in myself to see, and in thee seeing ill. Thy deathbed is no lesser than thy land, wherein thou liest in reputation sick. And thou, too careless patient as thou art, committest the anointed body to the cure of those physicians that first wounded thee. 1,000 flatterers sit within thy crown, whose compass is no bigger than thy head. And yet, encaged in so small a verge, the waste is no whit lesser than thy land. Oh, had thy grandsire with a prophet's eye seen how his son's son should destroy his sons, from forth they reach, he would have laid thy shame deposing thee before thou wert possessed, which art possessed now to depose thyself. Why, cousin, wert thou regent of the world, it were shame to let this land by lease. But for thy world enjoying but this land, is it not more than shame to shame it so? Landlord of England art thou now, not king? Thy state of law is bondslave to the law. And
thou, a lunatic, lean-witted fool, presuming on an ague's privilege, darest with thy frozen admonition make pale our cheek, chasing the royal blood with fury from his native residence. Now, by my seat's right royal majesty, wert thou not brother to great Edward's son, this tongue that runs so roundly in thy head should run thy head from thy unreverent shoulders.
oh, spare me not, my brother Edward's son, for that I was his father, Edward's son, not blood already, like a pelican hast thou tapped and drunkenly caroused. My brother Gloucester, plain, well-meaning soul, whom fair befall in heaven mongst happy souls, may be a precedent and witness good that thou respectest not spilling Edward's blood. Join with the present sickness that I have, and thy unkindness be like crooked age to crop at once a too long withered flower. Live in thy shame, but die not shame with thee. These words hereafter thy tormentors be, convey me to my bed, and then to my grave. Love they to live that love and honor have.
Exit, borne out by his attendants.
And let them die that age and sullens have, for both hast thou, and both become the grave.
I do beseech your majesty, impute